these are things I would like you to consider when you're selecting a place to place either your crib or your pack and play. First of all, the best place for any infant to sleep is within your sight at all times. So that is something that I would recommend you doing. But if you're not able to do that, then please also decide where it would be at least easier for you to do visual checks and to check on that infant or child when they're sleeping. The other thing I also think about is fire. To think if there were to be a fire, where would be the best place for kids to be placed when they're sleeping. So for best placement would be on the main level, so it's easier to get those children out, easier and faster. The other thing to think about would be if it isn't on the main level, then at least a level that you are present as well, so that it's easier, once again, if there were to be a fire, that you could get the children out. The next thing I would like you to do is whatever room that you're selecting, that you go through and you safety proof it. Even though they're sleeping in a crib or a pack and play, there are those times obviously where the child might be able to climb out or fall out, and that would be maybe something hopefully you're aware of, but maybe it's something that you're not, and they could get into something that's not safe. So please, whatever room you're selecting, that you are thinking that what if a child did get out and I didn't know about it, would I make sure that the environment that they're in is safe and they couldn't get any safety hazards. So when you are selecting things coming into a room, once you've safety proofed it, as far as other items, then you kind of think about where's the best placement for the actual structured crib or the pack and play. So things that I want you to think about would be obviously something that would not be within their reach. So what's recommended is 3 feet. So being 3 feet, that's what the experts have told us that you should always try to shoot for, just because that could be potentially the distance that they could reach. So you want to make sure you have 3 foot radius. If you're not able to do that, you can also put it up against a wall, but then I want you to think of certain things if they are up against a wall. So this is, as you can tell, there's a mirror above the pack and play. This would be something that would not be ideal. It could be a hazard. The child could stand up and pull on the mirror, or the mirror itself could somehow become dislodged or fall off the wall. Either it's not properly secured with a stud or the hardware you're using. And if that were to fall off, then that would be something the child could be injured either by the weight of the mirror, or the child actually could be hurt by the cutting of the glass. So with this, I would make sure that I keep it away 3 feet away from the mirror, or the other thing you could do obviously is just to remove the mirror from the wall. The other thing to think about is if you're placing the crib or pack and play by a window. So as you can tell by this design of these blinds, there are not any cords available. So this would be a safe type of window blind that you could be using. But many people typically do have the blinds with the cords. The best would be not placing, if you can, the crib or pack and play by a window. If you do have the blind cords, if you have that type of blinds available in your windows, or to move it away from the window itself if you're able to do that. At least 3 feet is what's recommended. The other thing to always be mindful of is if you have outlets in your room, which obviously you're going to, and if you do, you just want to make sure that they're always covered with a safety cover so that a child's not able to get electrocuted by that. So that's something to make sure. The other thing that I want you to think about is what type of heat that you do have in your room. If it is a baseboard heat, obviously this can become hot to touch, that either could start a fire or a child could be burned. So this would be definitely a place that you want to make sure that the crib or pack and play is 3 feet away for both reasons, fire and for potential burns if a child were to touch it. If you are putting the pack and play or the crib near either cupboard doors or drawers, closet doors, that there could be finger pinches. So children just tend to play with whatever's within reach. So they could pinch their fingers or get into a drawer. The other thing that I see many times are bifold doors, and those obviously could be another place that you could get a pinch. So you either can put a safety guard at the top so that they're not able to open it, or put safety guards on the drawers or the cupboards, or once again, if you're able to have the opportunity to move that at least 3 feet away, the crib or the pack and play away from those so they're not even accessible at all.